Today I'm flying around the world in 80 hours and I'm doing it all on low-cost airlines. So the starting point and the ending point for this massive round-the-world adventure is here at William Hobby Airport in Houston, which is where Southwest Airlines fly from. It's one of their major hubs, and they revolutionised low-cost travel back in the day. So it only makes sense that we start and end our little adventure with flights on Southwest.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you.
The first leg of my adventure then was up to New York's LaGuardia Airport. Hi, good morning.
Thank you.
Are we there yet?
Alright, let's on board flight number 1 up to LaGuardia in New York with Southwest on this brand new 737 MAX 8. From New York we carry on eastbound and continue going eastbound all the way around the globe before eventually getting back here to Houston Hobby Airport, hopefully a little under 80 hours time. Airborne on leg 1. I have to say it's not too bad so far. The leg room is not too bad at all for a low-cost airline anyway. There's Wi-Fi on this plane, brand new plane this. I had 5 simple rules for this little adventure made up by me before I set off. Number 1, every flight was to be flown on a low-cost airline. Every flight would need to be in economy class, no upgrades to premium economy or exit rows. Rule number 3, I have to visit both hemispheres. I'll explain a little bit more about that rule later in the video. Rule number 4, every flight must take me further east than the last flight. No backtracking whatsoever heading west to get on the next flight and no backsies. And finally, of course, I had to be back at Hobby Airport within 80 hours of taking off on the first flight. After a couple of hours, we started our approach into LaGuardia, getting treated to the stunning expressway visual approach into LGA.
Thanks so much, have a good one.
You're welcome, you too.
Flight 1 done, 8 more to go. Welcome to New York.
Next stop was to hop into a yellow cab and hot-footed across to JFK Airport for my next flight heading east.
JFK, please. Alright then, Terminal 8 here at JFK. Time to fly on my first long-haul low-cost flight of this trip with an airline called Level, who are going to take me across to Barcelona in Spain.
Getting through Terminal 8 was a task easier said than done, given the queues for security, which were absolutely insane.
Alright, finally through TSA here at JFK. Yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. That was. It took about an hour to get through. Level don't do pre-check. Alright then, time to get on board flight number 2 across the Atlantic.
Once again, we are asking all passengers to please have your passport open to the picture.
Segundo pasillo a la derecha, por
Hola,
favor. Hola, segundo pasillo a la derecha.
Gracias.
Level's A330 is in a 242 configuration. It's actually quite comfy when you get on board.
It's not too bad at all. It's in a 242 configuration, which for a low-cost airline isn't bad at all, is it really? 242, and we've got seat back entertainment system and everything here. This is quite nice. Legroom is it is legroom. It's not that great. I think it's about 30 inches, so it's not brilliant legroom here. So this is the IFE then on the Level A330. You've got a good selection of movies and stuff, and you've got a flight map as well. Well, it's not really a flight map, it's just more of a progress.
Pretty soon we were pushing back and getting on our way for flight number 2. Once we'd taken off, I put my seat back and tried to get some rest as we headed across the Atlantic to Barcelona.
6.5 hours later.
Good morning. I managed to get a few hours. I wouldn't say sleep, it was more like rest. Dozing a little bit on and off, very uncomfortable. Actually, people kicking the chair all night and things. It wasn't the most comfortable night's sleep, but hey, never mind.
As we approached Barcelona, we got a great view of the entire city, including the big church in downtown Barcelona.
2 done, 7 to go.
Connecting flights at Barcelona was relatively straightforward, and I went straight through security and ended up in the departure lounge ready for my next flight.
Alright, a nice easy connection then here at Barcelona. Connecting on now to Vueling Airlines, another one of IAG Group's low-cost airlines. They're going to take me onwards to Athens in Greece. Oh, well, this is quite nice, isn't it? This is a little garden terrace area they've got outside here at Barcelona Airport. There's a Starbucks and everything, a little cafe. Got myself a little iced espresso brown sugar thingy and a bit of a sandwich just to get me through a little bit until we get on the next plane. It's quite nice to sit out here in the sunshine. All right, then time to head to the gate and get on board my next flight over to Greece. Let's go.
My next flight was on this A320neo that looked like somebody had graffitied all over it.
Hola. Gracias. Hola, buenos días.
No.
Alright, then on board the Vueling A320neo, this one. I had actually planned to do this whole trip without actually getting any sort of extra legroom or anything, but it seems that when you buy a cabin bag on Vueling, which is what I did, not knowing if I'd need one or not, you get these extra space seats, but I don't think there's much difference, to be honest. They seem kind of about the same. They call them Space Plus, but the legroom seems to be exactly the same like throughout the plane, so I don't think it's any more room really, so I don't count that as cheating too much. Vueling actually seemed quite nice. The seat's really comfortable as far as low-cost airlines go, at least. Quite a decent amount of legroom. I'm not sure if that's because this is the extra space seat at the front that you get with your overhead baggage that you buy, but I'm not quite sure. But they do a buy on board meal service like many low-cost airlines, just like Level did actually, but I didn't have any food on Level because it was overnight. But I've had some lunch today, so I've ordered myself sweet and sour chicken with rice and a Diet Coke or Coke Zero. They have a choice of Coke Zero or Diet Coke. You don't get that very often on a plane, do you? So that's pretty good. Okay, let's try this. Basically, it's a microwave ready meal. It's like a lean cuisine. That's a very solid slab of rice. It's very chewy as well. Wow. It's not the best. As we headed further east, the sun started to set and we got a cracking view of a massive thunderstorm just underneath us on approach into Greece.
Alright then, Athens in Greece. Flight number 3 completed, 6 to go I think now. And quite a nice flight actually with Vueling. I quite enjoyed them. Much like Level, quite a nice little airline, aren't they, really? But I've got a few hours now here in Athens. My first time ever in Athens, so it's going to be interesting.
I headed into town to my hotel and woke up a few hours later to a great view of a world famous landmark.
Well, good morning from Greece, and I've woken up to a view of the apocalypse, which is just sort of over there between those buildings. I'm not going to lie, not quite as impressive as they make it look in the pictures. I mean, they don't show the council flats and the graffiti in the brochure, do they? But never mind, because today I've got another long-haul, low-cost flight.
After battling through the traffic of downtown Athens, I was soon at the airport and ready to check in.
Alright, so my next flight is with an airline called Scoot, who are based over in Singapore, which is where we're heading today. Now, this is a flight, probably the flight that I've been dreading the most on this trip, because not only is it by far the longest low-cost flight that I'm taking, it's over 11 hours long, but Scoot don't have the best reputation. I've not heard brilliant things about them, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to have to figure out.
The check-in line for Scoot was absolutely massive, and you can't check in online for Scoot, so even with no bags to check in, I had no choice but to wait in line.
Hi, good morning. Check in, please. Singapore. All right, thank you very much. All right, I've got it now, thank you. All right, finally checked in. That was a heck of a line that was to check in.
Security complete, I headed down to the gate where the Boeing 787 was waiting to take me all the way across to Singapore.
Zone 4, you can come in the front. Zone 4, check your boarding pass.
Hi there. Thank you. All right, the next stop, Singapore.
Across to your right, please. Across to your right, yeah?
Hello there.
Hi, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Across to your right, please. Hi.
Scoot's cabin feels more like a discotheque when you get on board, albeit a discotheque with really terrible seats.
Hi, I'm 39A.
Alright then, flight number 4 around the world on board the Scoot Dreamliner down to Singapore by 11 hours. That's what we're working with. It's a little bit more than we got on level, but what we don't get that we have on level, there's no seatback TV screen or anything like that. I'm not sure if there's power connectors, but I've got my battery pack down here ready. Very basic cabin, which I wasn't sure about. The wing is looking ridiculously battered. Looks like it's held together with sticky tape, but never mind. I might not have had a TV, but at least unlike this poor sod in front of me, I had a table to use. Alright then, airborne from Athens, heading out on the 11-hour trek down to Singapore now. The aircraft, yeah, it's a little bit battered. I'm lucky I've got no seat at the back of me, so I'm going to be able to recline this. I always feel bad about reclining my seat, especially in economy, because there's nothing more annoying than you just sitting there and finally finding somebody's head in your lap. Well, that's nice, I guess, but not when it's from the seat in front of you. But anyway, so yeah, I can recline quite nicely here, not having to worry about people behind me. And to look out the window, where you see all the windows have all been dimmed now, and I presume they're going to stay that way for most of the flight because this flight is an overnight flight. So things are getting a little bit awkward between the two passengers at the side of me. The guy on the aisle is Greek, and I spent the entire flight chatting to this poor woman at the side of me, talking her ear off for most of the flight, to the point where she's put headphones in to try and stop it. It's a little bit awkward, and she just took her earphones out to order food, at which point the guy on the aisles asked her out for a drink when they get to Singapore, which she sort of turned down. And now he's not really saying much, it's all gone very quiet, it's all a little bit awkward, and I'm just sat here like, yeah, okay. Who needs entertainment? Who needs in-flight entertainment? It wasn't long until the buy on board food service turned up, which on Scoot, if you want to eat, is mandatory, as you're not allowed to take your own food on the plane. Alright then, my $15 meal has arrived on Scoot Dreamliner. I have the black pepper beef with rice and a can of Coke. $15 microwave meal. Let's hope the rice is a bit better than on Vueling. Alright, we are now about 9 hours into this 12-hour or so flight. And I'm starting to feel it now, even though I can recline the seat a bit, it's still incredibly tight. Not very comfortable. The hardest thing is that, well, that the seat is really hard. It's not a comfortable seat if you put your head back. It's like sitting on an ironing board.
Now I know as well as anybody that sometimes life has its ups and downs, and sometimes all you've got to do is talk to somebody to feel a whole lot better, and that's where this week's video sponsor BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is a fantastic service that offers a network of over 30,000 fully qualified licensed therapists to help you with all of life's ups and downs. You just go on the website, fill in your details and get matched with a licensed therapist you can start talking to right away.
You can do regular video chats with them and even have access to them via instant messaging, so that you can always get in touch with your therapist that way too. The coolest thing about this that I like as well is that you get the chance to swap and change between your therapists. If it's not working out with one, you can just quickly change over to another one with no hard feelings on any part. BetterHelp are offering you 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Noel. That's betterhelp.com/Noel, and you can join the millions of people who have already taken charge of their mental health with BetterHelp. Right, then we are starting our descent finally down into Singapore. This has been a very long flight indeed, and I'm looking forward to getting on the ground in Singapore, if only for an hour or two, and stretching my legs before the next flight. It's another long one. Pretty soon we were smashing down on the runway here in Singapore with my long leg on Scoot finally over. Alright, these retro 1970s carpets can only mean one thing. Welcome to Changi Airport, Singapore. And now I've got to hot-foot it across to catch my next low-cost flight on an Australian low-cost airline. Can you tell who it is yet? That's right, it's Jetstar. So the last time I did an around the world video challenge type thing, a lot of people complained that I didn't cross the equator and go to Australia. Now, the thing is, with a aeronautical around the world circumnavigation, the rules actually say you don't need to cross the equator. Anyway, it doesn't matter this time because we are going to cross the equator, because my next flight is with Jetstar, an Australian low-cost airline, and that's going to take me down to Melbourne in Australia. So I've never flown on Jetstar before. I've never even really looked into what they're like. I've just posted a picture of the plane onto my Instagram, link on the screen to follow me if you're not following me already. But I've been sat here for like 10 minutes after posting that picture, and I've had about 4 messages in from people. First one says, "Oh God, Jetstar, good luck. Been hearing shocking things about them. Let's hope they don't cancel your flight. The worst airline on planet Earth," says Daniel Mindel. "Only one I ever refused to fly." How bad are Jetstar? I've got like 3 flights with them, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried now. It was soon time to finally find out what I was letting myself in for as I got on board the Jetstar 787 down to Melbourne.
Thank you.
It was soon very clear that just like on Scoot, Jetstar were making the most out of the 787's mood lighting. Right then, welcome on board the Jetstar 787, and it's not too bad actually on the face of it. We've got TV screens in the seats, legroom is okay, I suppose. And it's quite nice. I'm right down here at the back in seat 52, and yeah, on the face of it, it's certainly a lot better than Scoot in terms of the seat experience. Seats are very comfortable, nice pillowy bit at the back here, which is quite nice. Right, so we're not even, we're still at the gate basically, and there's already a passenger kicking off to the flight crew that she wants an upgrade because she doesn't want to be sitting so close to other people. I'm quite sure what she expected, flying in economy on a low-cost airline. I think the crew have kind of told her that she's either got a choice of sitting here or getting off. She seems to be comfortable around them now. With that matter resolved, it was time to taxi out to the runway and get on our way to Australia. So the family that sit next to me, or that were sitting next to me on the ground, the cabin crew came in and they promised them that they could have the row behind us across the middle so they could all sit together, but only after we've taken off. And they've all been moved so they can sit together. It does mean that I've got a poor man's flatbed. Stretching out on my poor man's flatbed, I sat and got caught up on the latest season of The Crown, and is it just me that thinks they've made Tony Blair look a bit like Uncle Bryn off of Gavin and Stacey?
Sausage. No, that's definitely sausage. Sausage, I know, is sausage. That's a given.
I've actually been thinking Jetstar are owned by Qantas, much like pretty much every other airline I've flown in this video, except for Southwest. All of the low-cost airlines I've flown are owned by a big brand name major airline. Level are owned by IAG, as of Vueling, Scoot are owned by Singapore Airlines, and Jetstar owned by, obviously, Qantas. the slightly more cynical part of me thinks if they keep these low-cost airlines as crap as possible, then that gives people all the more reason to go, oh look, we can fly Singapore Airlines instead of Scooting at a much better service, or oh look, we can fly Qantas instead of Jetstar and get a much better service. And for passengers to do that, it depends on them having a crap enough experience with a low-cost arm to want to do that. You know, a part of me just makes me think, are they keeping it crap on purpose to give people that sort of brand segregation? Right, so the food has turned up. I've pre-ordered my meals on Jetstar for this flight, and I have ordered the mac and cheese. I'm not going to lie, that doesn't look too bad. Now the good old wooden fork of shame that I'm getting surprisingly used to on this trip. Every flight I've had has had wooden forks. It used to be plastic, but they all seem to be wooden these days. But that's okay. Doing a bit for the environment, of course, as you have to. As he says, flying around the world on low-cost airlines just to make a video. Yeah, that ain't bad. That's pretty decent, that, actually. Alright, I am going to go ahead and do a loo review, because on this flight I can do, because I've got nobody at the side of me that I need to kick out of the seats to go and get to the bathroom, like I have on every other flight. This is the first loo review on this trip I've had a chance to do, and it's a special one. It's worth the wait because I have a new tool in my arsenal. Lots of you have been emailing me and asking me to consider getting one of these bad boys. This is called a black light, and what it does is it emits an ultraviolet light that sort of shows up any sticky messes that you might not see with your naked eye.
It's time for the Noel Phillips Loo Review.
Alright then, here goes. It doesn't work in the lights on, I have to turn the lights off. I'm going to have to turn the lights off and be quick, because turning the lights off means the toilet is suddenly not occupied, so let's try this. Remember, anything that illuminates bioluminescent is some sort of sticky, nasty bodily fluid, so let's try this. How did it get up there? Ew. So there you go. They're the bits that you don't touch around the toilet. It's yeah. I have my shoes on, and I think I need to remain with my shoes on. There we go, that's the Jetstar loo review, and we're only about an hour into the flight. This technology is going to come in handy on other flights, I feel.
That was the Noel Phillips Loo Review.
Alright then, the in-flight entertainment on the Jetstar Dreamliner. Every seat has got one of these little screens in the back here, which is quite nice. But the problem is, I think a lot of it you have to pay for. So let's have a look and see what exactly you can get on here. If you want to watch Hotel Transylvania, you have to pay to view, and that's going to cost you, let's see how much that is. If you want to watch that one film, $9. Wow. And if you want to watch everything, well, it's only $13, but I mean, it's a 6-hour flight, so what are you going to be watching? Yeah, that's expensive, isn't it? Wow. Free zone, here we go. I'm from the north, I like free. Let's have a look. TV and radio, okay, so TV we can watch. Oh, okay. Aspiring Pilot Tours, Jetstar Hangar, Melbourne, Gold Coast. Okay. There's not a lot, it's just promotional stuff. You can watch that for free, they'll advertise it to you for free. Rather than paying $9 to watch a movie, I decided to sit and watch some Mentor Pilot that I downloaded to my iPad, and pretty soon we were starting our descent towards Melbourne. So here we are then on the ground in Melbourne, but pretty soon I'd found out that, as predicted, I'd ended up being Jetstarred. Welcome to Melbourne, Australia, the southernmost point on my round the world trip, and it seems that my enjoyment, shall I say, of Jetstar just then is probably a little bit short-lived, because I've just had an email telling me that my next flight with them, and I'm due to be taking in about an hour and a half's time up to Sydney, has been cancelled. So
I don't know if we're gonna what we're gonna do from here, but I need to head over to the domestic terminal because apparently they've got 2 terminals here in Melbourne. So we're gonna head over there and see if we can figure this mess out. Hello, I'm alright here. I don't know where I'm just connecting on, so nice. Sydney, hopefully. They just cancelled my flight. Good to meet you too.
Awesome. Cool.
Hi, good to meet you.
I watch your videos every day.
Oh, do you? Oh, thank you. Yeah.
No worries.
You're like this one. I'm going around the world in 80 hours on low-cost airlines.
My God.
So, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So this is the southernmost stop.
Oh, really? Safe
So
travel,
it should be
then.
good. You actually need to get to the domestic, wherever that is.
Domestic
So,
from here?
Yeah.
And who, Virgin or
Jetstar.
Jetstar?
It'll be that way with it.
Yeah,
Awesome,
that way.
mate. Thank you very
4.
much.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you guys.
Take care.
Yeah, you too. See you later. Well, they were nice, weren't they? Thank you, whoever you were, for the warm welcome here in Melbourne. Right, see if Jetstar will give me quite as much of a warm welcome when I go to them with my predicament. Let's find out. Hi, good morning. Same problem. I think my flight to Sydney's been cancelled. So yeah, thank you. Must be what you're doing this morning.
I should be on recorder. So it's the 9:30.
Okay.
Arriving 10:55.
Yep.
Terminal 1, sir.
Awesome.
About
Thank you
5
so much.
minutes.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, being as in Australia now, can I have permission to say bugger? Because they've rebooked me onto a Qantas flight up to Sydney, which kind of breaks the chain of low cost. Although probably near Qantas, kind of low cost. Well, high cost, low, I don't know. It's been a while since I've flown on. Last time I flew on there, they were high cost, but low service. But I don't know. It's a domestic flight, so please forgive me. It's 1 hour out of the entire 80 that will be on a Qantas 737 rather than a Jetstar one. Just finally had my notification I can check in through Qantas. Yay! 1 hour before the flight leaves. Would I like to take an earlier flight? No. Definitely not. I haven't barely got time for this one. Right, Melbourne to Sydney, 9:30 a.m. on schedule, continue, yes. Can we get a window though? Can we get a window? I'm not infectious. No, I'm not infectious. Only with love. Actually, that's not a good thing at all. What am I saying? I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Right. Are you travelling with any dangerous goods? No, I am not. Check in. You're checked in. 4E. Oh, bugger. It's 4E. Oh my word. There's literally. There's 1 seat on the plane free, and it's a middle seat. But hey, at least I'm going to Sydney.
Hello, how are you going? Welcome. Just on the left-hand side today. Thanks. Catering's here. Hello.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
Hi, good to meet you.
How you been?
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Quick photo together?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Sorry. I've been following you for ages.
Have you?
Yes.
Australia.
Well, I hope you had a good trip.
Yeah, it's been good, thank you.
A great trip.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Take
See you
care.
later. Bye-bye. You too. All right, welcome to Sydney. The good news is that even after Jetstar cancelled my flight and put me on Qantas, I'm only like 15 minutes later into Sydney than I would have been on Jetstar. So that means I've still got a few hours here to be able to go and do a little bit of sightseeing in the city before my flight out of Australia. Everybody in Sydney seems to be wheeling a suitcase. Like, does anybody actually live here, or do people just like transit through? Now that's a normal ferry there, but that's a Manly ferry. Oh yes. I've been to Sydney a few times, but I've only actually left the airport for the first time today. Usually I just stay around the airport area and connect on flights. So it's actually quite nice to come into the city. It's quite a nice little city actually. It's a little bit like Newcastle. You've got like the bridge over there, over the water, there's all the boats, you've got the rain. You've even got yellow trains here, just like in Newcastle as well. It's quite a nice place really. And then you've got this place here, which is like a big theatre thing over the water. But yeah, it's quite nice. Anyway, I've got a bit of an issue now, you see, because my next flight takes me from here in Sydney across to Honolulu in Hawaii to connect onto my next flight back to mainland USA. The big issue here is that this next flight is on Jetstar again, and based on so far my experience with them, I've had a 50-50 success rate in even getting the planes to actually go. So whether we're actually going to be there on time to even have a chance of making this connection in Hawaii, I don't know. I really hope I do, because if I don't, then it means I have to change my onward flight, and there's every chance I'm going to miss the 80-hour mark. So fingers crossed. Jetstar, this is all on you now, guys, to get me to Honolulu in time for my connecting flight out. Hi there, how are you? Honolulu, yes.
Yeah. And can I see your Jetstar or visa, please?
My visa's in the passport. There we go.
So we're boarding at gate 54 today.
Awesome, thank you very much. Thank you.
Next.
Alright then, all checked in for Jetstar, which means fingers crossed the flight is not cancelled. They certainly didn't say that it was, so I don't think, fingers crossed and touching wood heavily, that we're going to be cancelled. But it is Jetstar, and we still don't know, because we've still got 3 hours before the flight, and they could cancel at any point. Oh look, the wonderful Air Calin. I wonder how many bags they've left behind this time. Alright, there's a Jetstar 787 at the gate waiting to take me to Hawaii. I just want to get home now. I'm knackered, absolutely worn out. Home stretch now. This is going to take us back to the States, and then we've only got another 2 after this one. Hi!
Hey, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you very much. I'm good, thank you.
How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Welcome on board.
Right
You're
down the
on
back.
52 years.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on you today. Make sure you
Cheers.
behave yourself.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good to
Thank
see
you. You too.
What's good, they say?
Alright then, another Jetstar flight, second one. Should have been my third. Same as the last one I was on basically. I've got not a massive amount of leg room. Same seat, it's for 52A. There's my view out the window. There is a bit of a misaligned window on this seat, but that doesn't bother me. I'm just going to sleep, I think, for this flight. Once everyone was on board, we pushed back to get on our way for flight number 7. Climbed out of Sydney as the sun started to set, and we headed across the Pacific Ocean to Honolulu.
3 hours later.
So, about halfway through this flight now. This is so uncomfortable. I've literally no room at all. I am penned in. I've got the seat right back here. The leg room on this flight is really like non-existent. I cannot get comfortable at all. After what was quite possibly the most uncomfortable flight on this entire trip to date, I was pleased to see the bright lights of Hawaii appear on the horizon as we made our approach into Honolulu Airport.
Thanks ever so much. See you later. Bye-bye. So landed in Honolulu, back in the USA, and jumping back in time, 24 hours now, back to this morning again, or whatever time it is. I don't know. But the good news is that Jetstar not only have got us here without cancelling the flight, but they've got us in 15 minutes early as well.
Immigration at Honolulu was really simple this morning. I was straight through global entry, back to landside, and then back through security again within about half an hour.
Alright, so I started my trip on Southwest Airlines, and I'm finishing my trip as well on Southwest Airlines. We made it 40 minutes from getting off the Jetstar Dreamliner to getting on here. There is my ride, a 737 MAX 8. It's going to take me on Southwest Airlines' longest non-stop flight from here in Honolulu across to Phoenix, Arizona. It's 6 hours plus.
Consider B1 through 30, welcome aboard. B1 through 30, come on.
Ooh, there you go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Alright then, on board, penultimate flight, 6 hours now, Southwest's longest non-stop flight over to Phoenix, Arizona on the MAX 8, and it's quite nice, loads of legroom on these MAX 8s. I think my first flight on this trip was on a MAX 8 a couple of days ago. Crikey, it seems like forever since then, but it's quite nice, loads of legroom, stretch right out like that. Oh. That's what we like, guys, that's what we like. 6 hours now over to Arizona and then home. As we got on our way, I was exhausted, but I did have to smile at the funny safety announcement given by the crew on this flight.
Put on the mask until the plastic tubing is fully extended. Stop screaming. If you're traveling with an infant, a small child, your husband, or somebody else requiring an extra assistance, please place your mask on first and assist them with theirs. If you are traveling with more than one child, oh my goodness, bless your little heart, what were you thinking? Start with your favorite or the one with the most potential, work you around down the line so you got that situation covered. Welcome aboard Southwest Airlines.
We took off from Honolulu and got some great views of Waikiki as we entered the clouds and headed on across the Pacific Ocean back to the mainland USA. The snack service on Southwest's Hawaiian flights has a lot more in it than the regular bag of nuts that you get on their mainland routes, which, given the length of these flights, is probably a good thing. After a few hours, we started to approach the Californian coastline just south of LA. So here we are then after 70 something hours back in the mainland USA. Yay! Southern California, we've just flown over Los Angeles. We've got about 40 minutes, it reckons, until we land down in Phoenix, almost on the home straight. It's quite interesting. We're actually following the I-10 right now, from LA all the way to Phoenix pretty much it seems. We're just about to fly over Blythe, but the I-10 is the road that I took in the Greyhound video I did, where I was trying to go coast to coast on the Greyhound, and we took the I-10 from LA all the way to Phoenix. That took like 2 days to get from LA to Phoenix. We're doing it in about half an hour on the plane. Isn't that incredible? And it wasn't long before Phoenix came into view and we started our approach down into Sky Harbor Airport. Thanks a lot, see you later.
Thank you. The company changed.
Alright, Phoenix, Arizona, back in the mainland USA. Almost home, guys, almost home. One more leg to go now. I'll talk a bit about how much this little trip around the world on low-cost airlines has cost, and the entire cost of this trip around the world has cost me the grand total of $2,908. But that's just for the flights that I've flown, and I'll come back to that in just a sec. The most expensive flight I've done is this one I'm on right now, actually, Honolulu to Houston, which was $700. The cheapest one was with Vueling from Barcelona to Athens. That one was only $200. Actually, a lot of the flights I was looking at were cheaper if you'd have gone on full service airlines. The other thing here is it's actually cost me a lot more than that. The trouble with low cost airlines is when you book a flight with them, you don't get any flexibility typically with them. All it takes is one airline to make a change and then it throws out the rest of it all together. And that's exactly what's happened here, because Level changed my flight, which meant that I would have missed a load of other flights. I was down about $1,500 from those flights. Scoot cancelled one of my flights. That meant that I would have missed my connection on with Zip Airlines, and then with Spirit Airlines, and then with all the others that I've originally got planned for this trip. You just lose the money because that's low cost airline. If you want any degree of flexibility whatsoever, then you're pretty much screwed.
With that said, it was time to head to the gate and get on board my final flight back to Houston.
Good evening. How are y'all doing today? Guys, please right in front of you real quick. Thank you.
Hello. Right then, on board. Last flight of the trip, flight number 9. Concluding this crazy little thing that I've just done. There is literally barely anybody on board. I think they said there was like 54 passengers on board, which is crazy because the last flight I was on, obviously from Honolulu, was rammed, and this is like only less than like a third full or something. It's not too bad at all. Got a row to myself, and there's, in fact, I got several rows to myself. There's nobody behind me either, and I thought I'd come and sit down at the back on this side, and hopefully we get a nice view of Houston as we come in to land at Hobby Airport. So time to stretch out. I think 2 hours and something over to Houston now. Who's counting? Who's counting, honestly?
let's get out of here. Alright, so the last leg airborne from Phoenix, heading back home to Houston Hobby Airport. And I'm tired, I'm hurting, I ache in places that I didn't know could ache. But it's been an incredible trip. I've managed to see the entire globe, fly around the world on low-cost airlines in less than 4 days. Just amazing. And one of the flight attendants has just said to me, she goes, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can ride on a plane for 3 or 4 days at a time and you know, just travel constantly. You must be absolutely exhausted. I said, I don't know how you do it. You're flying around the world constantly for 3 or 4 days at a time, and you actually have to work. You have to serve customers and deal with people and things. All I've got to do is sit in a seat, talk to a camera and look out the window. You know, so the flight attendants really are the ones that deserve the recognition, because they do these. I don't know how they do it, to be honest. If you're a flight attendant, thank you so much for everything you do, by the way. I don't know how you do it. I couldn't do your job. I've appear to have been given a enhanced glass of Coke by the crew, which is very appreciated. They wanted to congratulate me on my flight around the world, so I shall be having a little sip in just a moment. And as we descended through the clouds on a murky evening in Houston, I couldn't help but think that I might have earned that. A little over 79 hours after taking off from Hobby Airport, here I was again, having circumnavigated the entire globe.
Thank you so much for choosing the Southwest. Back in Houston again real soon. Welcome to Houston Hobby.
Thanks very much.
Houston.
Next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good evening. Thank you. I've done it. Well, here we are then, 25,000 miles later, back here at Hobby Airport in Houston. And a little under 80 hours after I was last here. Wow, what a trip. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. I'm absolutely worn out. I'm going to head home, try and get some sleep and try and get to the chiropractors. But let me know what you thought to it down in the comments. In the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.